More like it. All right. So we're here. New year, new me, all that bull jazz, right? No, I'm just kidding. We're going to start back in full guard now. For those of you who've been here a while, we restart the curriculum every year. I always add new wrinkles and new things, new details. But we're going back over basic full guard stuff, right? So boom, we're here. I'm going to start with just a cuff grip and a collar grip here. All right? I'm going to lift my hips up, pull my knees forward, pull his arm across, pulling this arm in. That's going to allow me to walk my feet up. As I'm walking my feet up, I need to be shifting my hips and cutting towards this arm. That's going to allow me to then secure this arm to my chest, pulling it up as far as I can so that his arm's straight. My hand that is on the collar is going to push him away, passing my foot over his neck. A couple details we miss on this a lot. A lot of us just kind of put our leg lazily across the back. When I'm here, I'm trying to hammer my heel down and catch his neck right in the pit of my knee. Here. Once we're here, I pinch my knees, attach his wrist to my chest, and I'm going to raise my hips slowly, getting that arm bar. So we're here, I grab, lift my hips up, pull my knees forward, guys. A lot of people, when we're trying to break posture, especially, we'll reach up, we'll grab, and I'm going to try to pull him in with just my arms. It's really hard. JJ's strong and extremely good looking some days. He's got the real nice hair going. So when I try to pull him in here, he's going to base and struggle and do all those things. My arms versus his arms and back isn't going to work. So when I'm here and I raise my hips up, I'm going to disrupt his base by pulling my knees forward. Two things that does. One, engages my hips and my knees and legs into this, but it also throws him off balance. Boom. This will allow me better control in walking my legs up. Once we're here, I push the head away, pass the leg over, hammer my heels down, pinch the knees, lift the hips. Now, remember, we are not pulling a lever. You should never be finishing an arm bar by like pulling his arm down. This should be attached to my chest. That's going to allow me to raise my hips and finish. Questions on this? Whenever I go to push the head. So I'm going to hold that collar for a couple of reasons. One, I just always like to make people uncomfortable. But two, it gives me good neck control and gives me another thing to threaten, which we're going to work here in a minute. Right? But it allows me to have that good control. Walking those feet up, so that way when I get here, in case he tries to posture or something, it just gives me another point of contact until I get that leg over, and I can work up. Yes, because I'll always go to that kind of diamond guard position. So when I'm here, I'm always going to get this leg over that shoulder at first, just because it gives me good option for.
Aurora.
I can push, pull, go to the triangle. Reverse arm locks, there's a lot of options from here. That's why I like to trap here, but if not, boom. Quick arm bar is always as effective.
For no gi, or would you just like grab the shoulder or grip the head? Or?
Boom, I'm going wrist grip. Here. Same. Everything the same, just collars and wrists. Other questions on this? Walk through it one more time. We're here. I grab the collar, raise the hips, break the posture. Walk the feet up, cut my angle, push the head, pinch the knees, lift the hips. Ambas, 1, 2, 3. Then, 3 stripes. You're going to continue on that arm bar. 3 stripes and up. You get to move on to this next piece. Alright? Boom, I grab the collar, grab the gi, I lift my hips up, pull them down, right? I walk my feet up, here. I gotta push his head across, but for whatever reason I can't get this arm bar. Let's say his elbow's coming out, let's say I'm trying, it's just not there. All we're gonna do, our top hand that was here on the wrist is gonna scoop under to find his wrist. Pinch my knee up and drive his wrist right to my ear. That's going to allow me to bring my thumb to the back of his elbow here, pulling down slowly for the reverse arm.
We'll see this.
Probably.
You got any stress? Exactly. So I'm here. I break him down, walk my feet up, pass over, and I'm here. For whatever reason, I cannot finish this arm bar and row, right? He's getting it out, he's doing whatever, right? All we're going to do, I'm going to look to pass this straight to my ear, pinching here. I'm still going to keep a hold of this just because it keeps it threatened. But all we're going to do, our hand is going to go right to the back of your elbow. Right there. I'm going to roll his wrist down. Pull slowly. For a nice and nasty reverse arm. One of my favorite all-time submissions. So we're here. I break them down. I walk my feet up. Now I'll sometimes pause here just to look for the setup here. But let's say I'm attacking that arm. And he's defending. He's doing what he's supposed to. Boom. Roll this up to yourself. Look to manipulate that elbow because you want his thumb pointing down. If it's pointed this way, it's a lot harder. So when I'm here, I'm always trying to rotate that thumb down. Once you get it there, if you're doing this right, it should be minimal effort. If you're having to, and I'm going to move his arm for this. If I'm having to do all this, you're doing it wrong. Right? Rotate it. You can do it one-handed if you have it set up. Here. That's the goal.
Nobody actually sees it.
Questions on this?
So, if you're him, are you grabbing your leg to stop this? How, like, preemptively, what are you doing with that other arm?
You should be weaving it. So like if I'm him and I'm trying to defend this, what a lot of people do is they'll grab their bicep and they'll leave this hand kind of just laying around. So if I'm going to weave this to go grab the bicep and stack and do all that, this hand needs to weave and actually find the back of my knee. How many of you guys have been in an armbar where I sit here like this where my hand's behind your knee? That's why. It's because I'm stopping that double attack preemptively. So that's what you want to be doing is you have to be intentional with this hand. If you leave this laying around with me, even if you're defending this arm well, I'll find that arm eventually. So you have to be intentional as far as when they're arm barring, looking for that hand to be woven into that S grip and into the back of that knee, or grabbing the leg at worst. Grabbing the leg is going to make it harder for me to do. I'll still be able to get it out eventually, or switch sides for the arm bar, but it'll at least buy you enough time to start defending and knowing what's coming. If you just leave it hanging around out there, I'll snap it up just to prove the point. Other questions on this? Alright, last bit. I'll do it one more time. Boom, I'm here. Lift my hips up, break them down. Walk my feet up. Go for the arm bar. It's not working. Scoop his wrist. Roll the wrist over. Pressure down behind the elbow. Driller out. 1, 2, 3. So I'm here. Boom. We're here. Boom. I grab my cross collar. I grab my knee. My grip here. I lift my hips up. Pull everything across, right? Now, all we're going to do is I'm going to walk the hips up a little bit to where I get to this, my knee over his shoulder and my feet crossed. High guard, diamond guard, you'll learn call it 1,000 different things. I like diamond guard just because my legs are in a diamond and it's cool. So, I'm here. All we're going to look to do, I'm going to grab that little nice patch of gi right behind his shoulder here. I'm going to roll my wrist under, roll my wrist over here. As I do that, I'm going to bring my wrist up and drive him across into my leg.
That's beautiful. No, you don't.
So what we're doing here is, I snap this collar down and around so that my wrist is going into his windpipe his gi collar is getting this side of the blood. And when I go up here, I'm trying to force this into the other side of the blood. I'm going to loosen so that he can breathe and talk eventually. But I'm looking to hit the blood with this other side. So my goal is all three of the choking options. Blood on either side, air in the middle, right? A good choke has 2 of 3. A great choke goes 3 for 3. So when I'm here, I pull this across, and I'm using this as a setup. Everyone's looking for the armbar. I'm reaching behind, so that way instead of pushing across for that armbar, bring that wrist up for the choke. It's nasty in a hurry if you're doing it right. So we're here, snap that collar down. I still break that posture down. Now, one mistake I saw a couple of you make, do not put this foot on the floor when you're cutting your ankles. If you need to post your foot, to the hip. Get it to that position here. Now, I like to reach behind just because I feel like it gives me a better grip. You can reach in front and push across. Give this a shot though. Feels better, feels tighter, and that's why I like it more. Now, as far as this grip goes, I don't want to reach behind him because that makes it hard to manipulate my wrist where I need it. What I want is my pinky finger resting right on top of his collarbone. That's the depth of this choke. So if you feel his collarbone right here, that's where I want my hand. That way when I snap this collar down, it allows my wrist to manipulate naturally. Where if it's too deep, I'm like flexing, like hay grilling my own wrist for some reason. I like hurt myself. So I'm here, that finger's on my collarbone, I snap down and around. So that way when I'm here, it allows me better in a more natural motion to throttle that motorcycle. I know you throttle this way. Just pretend with me for a second, Eli, that you throttle this way. Okay? Can you do that?
Where are you grabbing?
Here, you see, everyone, look at your, naturally when you have your jacket on, you see this nice little bunch of fabric right where the shoulder is? That's where I'm looking to grab. Just kind of on that outside piece. That way I can drive that across so that his body drives into that choke. Questions on those? Nice, crafty little cross collar choke. It's basic, but it works. Raise the hips up, break them down. Walk the feet up, here. I'm going to grab that collar, roll the wrist in front, pull that heel tight, elbow up. Drill her out. 1, 2, 3. So I'm here, I grab my collar, lift my hips up, pass it over, I walk my feet up. Now I promise Rel that I'm going to try to choke or try to armbar him right now. I swear I'm going to armbar, and I'm going to do it right. Because if I pull on this arm a lot, what is every full-grown adult's reaction to having their arm pulled on, right? He wants to pull it back. Thank you. All we're going to do, I'm going to lift my hips up a little bit, push his arm through form. Because now he's in a triangle, and it's his own fault. Pass this arm across to the other side. Pull my hips down, here. Once I'm here, I'm going to grab my shin bone right behind Rel's head. Foot to the hip. Cut my ankle so that my foot is pointing across his shoulders. A lot of us have a bad habit of our foot pointing across his back. I want him in line with his shoulders while I'm going on here. I pass my foot over, arch this foot up, this foot down. When I'm here, do not grab your foot. If I catch you grabbing your foot while I'm walking around, just know I'm kicking you nowhere. Because you're just getting in your own way. Grab that shin right behind his head. It gives you better control of him, but it also gives you a tighter triangle. And when you lock your triangle, unless you want to snap your own ankle, and you're like, Dustin, that can't happen. I watched it with my own eyes from about where James is sitting. Watched a dude arch his hips on a triangle and snap this shit in half. Awful. The sound will haunt me till I die. Do not walk on your foot. Lock on the shin bone and in the ankle so that you can arch this foot up, this heel down. Not only is it tighter, you also don't run the risk of snapping your own ankle. Generally not the goal is it, Carson, to snap your own ankle? Snap theirs, maybe, not your own. So we're here. I lift my hips up, pass the arm across. Walk my hips up, and I promise relevant arm bar. Thanks. Push, pull, a little bit of deception. Pass this wrist across, bring my hips down. I'm going to grab my shin bone here, post this foot. Now the reason I grab up here, Rel, get your head up. Rel, I said get your head up. Get your head up. Have good control here. That way I can cut my angle, close this triangle. Once we're here, I'm going to loosen so Rel can breathe. Once we're here, I lift my hips up, hammer my heel down, pull his head. Nice and smooth. Questions on this? This move is in the details. The difference in between having a really good triangle and something that looks like a triangle is all in the details. So questions on this? Come here. Lift my hips up. Pass it down. Walk my feet up. And I'm going to fight with this arm, make it look like I'm trying to do something, so that when I pass it out and pass this arm over, it tricks them a little bit. Grab the shin, cut that ankle. Pass the leg. Finish. It is simple, but not easy. Drill her out. 1, 2, 3.